maybe we're just scouting the land, you'd probably think. We're going to look at the walls, and that makes sense. We should know how all the angles of this wall look, and maybe if there's a weakness that we can find. And so the first day they do that, and there's probably, everybody was just thinking that was normal. Second day they do it, they're thinking maybe, we're just checking it again. Maybe we missed something. Third day, they do it again, and they're thinking, why am I doing this? I don't need any more exercise. Doesn't Joshua know that we've been walking around in the wilderness for 40 years? Exercising is the last thing I want to do. I want to get my own house. I want to be able to just enjoy this new land. And so here they are, and every day, day by day by day, they're probably just wondering more and more and more, what is Joshua doing? Is this guy crazy? Has God really told him to do this? Because if God told him to do this, why am I seeing nothing? And sometimes we can be like that in our own life. There can be seasons in our life where we're just going in circles. It just feels like God is telling us that we have victory, but we're just walking in circles. And it's just, God, why am I doing this? God, why am I dealing, with these financial problems? God, why am I dealing with this marriage that just is a wreck, and these relationships that are a wreck, and I just can't seem to just ever get them to just go stable on me? I'm trying to walk this life the way that you've called me, and we just keep on going in circles, and we can keep on going in circles when it comes to maybe some addictions that we're going through in our life. It just doesn't seem like it's breaking, and we're just trusting God, and we're saying, God, you in your word, you said that I can have freedom. You said that I can have life, but I'm still dealing with smoking. I'm still dealing with drinking too much. I'm still dealing with lust problems. I'm still dealing with all this other kind of stuff that's going on in my life, and God, what is going on? Well, we can get in that place in our life where it just seems like we're going in circles. Now, wouldn't it have been great that it was every lap that they did going around Jericho that a piece of the section of the wall would just fall? Now, wouldn't it be great in life that as you're walking and you're trusting in God, that you would just begin to see things break little by little by little off your life? Because sometimes there's seasons in our life that God is calling us to. This is the crazy thing. God is calling us to some seasons where there's no victory. And sometimes it can feel like it's not God whatsoever, but God is putting us in a place to see it. Will we trust Him? Will we allow Him to do something in us to strengthen us in this season of trials, in this season of feeling like we're going nowhere? And we're just all hot and sweaty, and we're just annoyed, and this is not fun, God. God, why am I going through this? What have I done? We can start to think. We can start to think, God, do you even love me? Do you care about me? Is your word even true? And all this stuff starts to go through our minds, starts to go through our hearts, and what God is trying to do is He's trying to strengthen us on the inside so that we can handle adversity and trials. The thing that is awesome in my life is when I go through a trial, I can begin to start to think about what God has done in the past, and I can start to look at His faithfulness. And all of a sudden when I start to see, okay, over here, God, you had me go through this trial over here that I just was going in circles, and I wasn't seeing any victory, and because I went through that and I came out victorious, I can go through what I'm going through today. And I can be strong in my faith, and I can help others go through the same things that I've gone through. But it's not fun when we go through the seasons where it just seems like we're going in circles. It seems like sometimes those seasons in my life are a lot longer than the seasons of breakthrough. Well, how much would we pray if every time we prayed we saw a change? Every time we prayed for our spouse to change, that God would knock out some of their anger and knock out some of their stupidity. And every time we prayed that it would change a little bit and a little bit, more and more with our kids, or maybe a sickness we're going through, or disease, and we just pray and we just feel better and better and better. How much would we be praying every single day? I think some of us would just be staying in our rooms all day long. We'd just be like, this is awesome. I just love seeing victory. But that's not usually what happens in our life. Sometimes we're praying for things, It can be weeks, and the weeks turn into months, and the months turn into years, and we haven't seen one change. And sometimes it feels like it's just getting worse. And then the victory happens. Oh, but it's not a fun season. We have to make sure in life that we don't get caught up in what we're seeing. I've said this before last month, is we can't get caught up in what we're seeing. We have to trust what God is saying over what we're seeing. You know, Joshua had to believe God and what he was saying over what he was seeing, because God was saying, you have victory. God is saying, when I read the word, I'm encouraged that I have all these things, but no, I'm not seeing them in the natural all the time. I wish I was. And sometimes we have to allow God to do something in us so we can begin to trust God and not trust what we're seeing, but we trust what we're hearing from God and His Word for our lives. Because it's in the walking, it's in the wondering, it's in our weakness that where God develops us. No, it's not when everything is going good. No, don't you wish that God could just develop us when we have more than enough money, when our marriage is doing great, when our kids are just loving Jesus and they're just have great friends and they're not getting in trouble, when we just feel great and we're full of health and life and everything's just perfect in our life. I wish that was when God could develop me. You know, I wish God would be like, I have to give you some more blessings so I can increase your faith. That would be awesome. But that's not the case. You know, sometimes I believe some of us as Christians can have some bad theology and think that as soon as we get saved and we give our lives over to Jesus, that everything's just going to be easy. But it's not. No, it's well worth it. No, the great thing is that when we can go through these trials and we can go through these circles of wondering and walking in circles, we can still have peace. We can still have joy, that when people in the world look at us, they can say, what is going on with you? Now, how is it that you're going through life, your life is way worse than me, and somehow you're way happier than I am? I feel like there's nothing really wrong in my life, but I'm miserable. No, I feel like I'm depressed at times. No, I feel like I'm lonely, but I have no reason to even think that. Your friends are saying, but they're looking at you and they're thinking, how'd you do it? And that's a place where you can be at where you're saying, no, it's only because of Jesus. No, it's only because my God is way bigger. Because I'm focused on how big my God is. Because of His faithfulness in the past. That I can trust Him today. And I know that I'm going to be all right. No, it doesn't even matter if I die. I can be on my deathbed and I can be full of peace and joy because I know and I have a hope in Jesus. That when I die, that I'm not going to just be nowhere. But I'm going to be with Jesus and everything's going to be all right. And so it's in the walking, the wondering, and our weakness where God is developing us. And I believe that as they were walking and they were going in circles, little bit by little bit, they were in this place where they're just losing more and more and more and more themselves. Now, I believe, though, if God all of a sudden just won the victory for us before we even got there, maybe some of us might think a lot of it had to do with us. You know, if all of a sudden I had some financial issue and I just prayed one prayer and all of a sudden I saw the breakthrough and I got a new job and everything was all right, maybe, just maybe, I might think that, you know, it was because I applied and it had a lot more to do with me than it did to do with God. Oh, maybe if I prayed a prayer and all of a sudden, you know, I was dealing with some issues with my kids or my spouse, and I prayed a prayer and said, God, I ask that you would just help this situation. You know, bring peace to this household, and the next day I see that everything's all right. Maybe I might think that it had to do with me. And I'm just so slick with my conversations, and I'm just so wise, and I'm so intelligent, you know, that I was able just to fix this situation. And I believe that that's what God's wanting us to do, is God's saying, no, I'm sending you through some seasons of going in circles. And you're going just in circles, you're going nowhere. But I believe as you're going nowhere, You're losing a little bit more and more and more of yourself. You're starting to trust in yourself a little bit less and a little bit less, and you're starting to lean on God a little bit more and a little bit more, and you're starting to come to the realization that, you know what, I can't do this. You know, that if I'm going to be able to see victory in my life, if I'm going to see the blessings that God has for my life, it's only going to be God. You know, there's no way that I can do this on my own, and I believe that God can sometimes allow us to get to this place where we're just so miserable. And it's not because he wants to see us miserable, but we got to get over ourselves, and some of us can't let ourselves go. Some of us, it's real hard to get over yourself. And so here they are, and they've walked around 6 times, and nothing's happened. 6 times, 6 days. And put into perspective here, they don't know what God's really saying all the way. Joshua's not giving them the big picture, because he's a little afraid that if I give you the big picture, you're not going to trust me. You're going to doubt, and so I just need you to just have some blind faith here if you're going to be able to work with me. And here they are, and they're probably about at that moment thinking, no, we need to get a new leader. You know, Joshua's not the man. You know, this is really annoying having him as the leader. He's just getting us to go in circles every single day. This is 6 days. Oh, it's hot outside. It's sweaty. You know, I could do a lot of better other things with my life than just walk in circles. You know, every day here. But then, on the 6th day, the Bible says, when you look at the numbers, 6 represents man. You know, and I believe what God was doing there is he was representing by 6 times. That just represents our efforts. You know, on their efforts, on their 6 times going around, there wasn't even any change whatsoever. You know, the top of the wall didn't fall down at all. But you know, on the 7th day, that's where things changed. And you know, the Bible talks about 7 as being, that's the number of God, the number of perfection. And sometimes God's just saying, I need you to get over yourself. I need you to get over yourself. And we see that day as they walked around on the 7th day. They walked around 7 times, which, that's a long time. They were walking around for a while. You know, not minutes, probably hours. That day, they're walking in circles. It's wondering, what's going to happen here? And on that 7th time they walked around, they shouted, and every single wall collapsed, all in that moment. And they saw the victory. And I want to encourage you today, know that God has not forgotten you. Just because you feel like you're believing and you're putting your faith out there and you're seeing nothing, that doesn't mean that your faith isn't working. No, I'm here to encourage you today. I feel like God was wanting me to encourage some people today. To say, no, let's keep on faith in it till we make it. That we're going to just see this through. That God's going to bring the victory. You know, but a lot of times God doesn't like to show us any victory until about when he's about to make it happen. You know, and I'm not really a big NASCAR fan, but I want to share a little bit about NASCAR today. Oh, here, I'll just put off to the side. I don't need it quite yet. But in NASCAR, you know, if you're NASCAR fans, that's great. I've never really watched NASCAR that much, but I played a lot of Need for Speed. So that's where my car racing, where there's a little bit of excitement there. I don't know any Need for Speed fans out there. We maybe have a few. You know, that's a really fun game, you know, especially when you're trying to outrun the cops or vice versa. You're the cop and you're trying to pull the person over, and it's just a lot of fun things that you'd never do in real life. You know, and I wouldn't recommend whatsoever unless you're just being stupid. You know, but video games can be fun at times. And I was looking at NASCAR, and in NASCARs they're just going in circles. So it's a lot like what we're talking about today. You know, that it's kind of weird that you have a sport that you're watching cars just go in circles. You know, it'd be kind of maybe a little cooler if they were going actually somewhere. You know, but they're just going in circles, and I think that's part of the reason why it's hard for me to get into it at times. But what they're doing is they're going in circles a lot of times, many times. But on that last lap, what they're looking for is there's a white flag that comes out. They're looking for that white flag because they know as soon as that white flag comes out, it's almost done. And today, I believe that God's just waiting for us to say, you know what? I'm getting my white flag out. God, I'm done with myself. I need the band to come out right now. God, no, I'm just waving my white flag now. I'm over myself. God, I can't do this anymore. We're just saying, God, I've just been going through this sickness, this disease, and I just can't handle it anymore. God, I just can't handle this marriage anymore. You got to show up. God, you got to show up with my kids. God, you got to show up with my finances. God, I can't do this anymore. God, I can't. No, I've been trying this for many years. I've been trying this for too long. And God, I know that if this is going to see the breakthrough, I know that it's only going to be God. And God, I need you. And I just want to encourage you today that as we're going through these seasons of hardship, as we're going through these seasons where it just feels like nothing's happening, I believe it's not that God's not hearing you. It's not that your God's not big enough. I believe it's just God saying, I'm just waiting for you to get to the place where you can say, no, I'm getting my white flag out, God, of surrender. And it's not going to be where I'm trying to do things on my own, but God, I'm going to trust you and through this. And what I want us to do right now is I just want us to stand up right now, and we're going to go into this song, and we're going to proclaim today that we're just raising our white flags